now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story. Real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
And it's Financial Fitness Friday. Welcome, everybody. I'm Rich Rosso, CFP, here with, well, I was going to say Danny Ratliff, but no.
The switcheroo.
John Penn, the voice.
Morning, y'all.
CFP. Gosh, we're chock full of CFPs, certified financial planners. It just makes your heart, makes your cockles all warm.
It's a good feeling. It's a warm and fuzzy.
It's a warm and fuzzy. Speaking of warm and fuzzy, we do have futures up this morning for however long that is going to last. Dow futures up 51, NASDAQ futures up 38. Obviously, the big story is always yields. I think Elvis made a movie called Yields. Oh, what's so yields, baby. We got some yields, baby. And we gotta turn around, and we gotta swivel hips, and we got some yields. Thank you very much.
That was glorious.
Thank you. Oh, Elvis, here's my hotel key. Oh, thank you, Janet. I can do a lot better. Thank you very much.
All morning, folks.
Yeah. Just tip your waitress on the way out. Listen, so today, with big report, is the September jobs report. And we know that non-farm payrolls have been quite stubborn lately. So that is going to be watched by Wall Street and also, obviously, the Fed. So looks like we're going to see economists expect 170,000 net gain in non-farm payrolls. So obviously, hot payroll number puts another rate hike on the table. Mm-hmm. Although I still think they are in wait-and-see mode. I think finally, John, we are seeing the effects of all the rate hikes we've seen. There is starting to be a drag on the economy. Although, I will tell you, I read this article in the Wall Street Journal, which really concerned me greatly. I don't know if you've noticed, but since the pandemic, people freaking out about spending. I got to live for today. I was one of the idiots who believed when the savings rate spiked during the pandemic that I was like, oh, this is good. I was in La La Land. I think Americans have turned a new leaf. We're going back to frugality. We're going to save money. We're going to do all the things right. Nope.
Putting the chips on the table.
Let me tell you, this article scared the heck out of me. And the article is called Americans Are Still Spending Like There's No Tomorrow. 5.8% were spent more in August than a year earlier. Obviously, also people are spending more because of inflation. But I understand what the Wall Street Journal is. They take examples of people that are pretty much always doing the wrong thing. But this couple went ahead and went into credit card debt to finance a vacation to Maui. So listen to this. The wife quits her job before the trip. And they go ahead and decide to be with a son with special needs. So that's great. But they're going to go ahead now and they spend $10,000 on credit cards on a trip, including 3 1,000 last-minute plane tickets, 10 nights at 385 nights a night, 4-star resort, and several elaborate meals. I mean, I don't have it in me. If I had a spouse who is leaving their job, justifiably so, to take care of an 8-year-old child that has special needs, which means my income is going to be constrained, and I'm going to go ahead and just splurge on credit cards, which are at, on average, 27 to 30% interest for a trip. Now, okay, say you want to take a trip. Say that's still the case. Am I going to stay in a $385 a night 4-star resort and several elaborate meals? Or am I going to maybe think of a trip that's a little more reasonable than $10,000? I would be sweating it out. How do I pay this off? Wouldn't you?
Well, I guess that's my question is, did they maybe use a credit card to get some points or some airline miles with the intent of just paying that right off, or what was the end result?
Well, they don't tell you, but it's also about we're worried about climate change, and the world is going to be different tomorrow. So we got to spend, spend, spend. So when you see that Americans are worried about retirement finances and not saving, it's because of global warming.
That's the first one I've heard.
So
let's just go now.
I'm going to connect a lot of crazy dots this morning for you.
I love it.
But they all end in global warming.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I would think that credit card.
Janet, you cannot come to my room, baby, because of global warming. That makes perfect sense, Elvis. I totally get it. Thank you very much. So,
I got nothing. I got nothing.
I guess I'm all for spending when you want to take a nice trip with your family, right? But we got to budget it. We got to plan it out. I'm not going to put it all on credit cards. Maybe I don't have to do the most elaborate room. When you read The Millionaire Next Door, it's always about how these individuals spend, right? One of the best books ever. Mm-hmm. If you haven't bought that for your children, your grandchildren, for the holidays, please think about doing it. So think about this. They never buy the cheapest. They never buy the most expensive. They do something in the middle, right? They want good value, but they also know that quality matters. If I buy crap, I'm going to have to replace it sooner. Right? So if you were this couple, John, I'm gonna put you in a spot.
Okay.
And you wanted to take a trip, and your wife decides to quit. Well, first of all, John's saying, no trip!
Yeah, that's it. There's
no trip.
That's a quick and easy answer.
For this group, yeah. But just say you were going to do that. How would you plan it? Like, what would you do as opposed to, say, $10,000 and the best hotel room and... what would you think
I think
that?
For me, if you really just had to get away, or if you were taking a trip there, it would be something within driving distance.
Nice.
Right.
So I don't have to pay. I'm not paying $1,000 in tickets.
Yeah.
For the last minute. Okay.
Within driving distance today.
Yes. So
no overnight.
Maybe we're in Houston, so I'm thinking somewhere out in the hill country, somewhere reasonable. Maybe a reasonable, bed and breakfast, not too over the top.
I'm thinking Brookshire.
Am I in La La Land here? Should I be saying Buc-cee's?
Now,
are we staying in the trailer behind Buc-cee's?
That's a trip for me.
And eating beaver
nuggets? I
nuggets
can go to Buc-cee's and hang out there.
And chocolate-covered almonds?
But if I go ahead and I set up a room in one of those bathrooms, they wouldn't even find out till the next day. You turn it from, the dial to occupied. Who's going to know?
I think I just failed your answer miserably. But I'll go with
I'll
go with the Buc-cee's card.
I just don't understand this. Let's spend like there's no tomorrow.
I agree. I completely agree.
And there are more examples in this article. When we return, we'll get to it. Thanks for your patience. And I have had a lot of coffee this morning.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
October means it's time for open enrollment into Medicare. How is your health insurance going to work after you leave your job? Our next Lunch and Learn will tackle transitioning to Medicare Thursday, October 12th with Danny Ratliff and Richard Rosso. How will Medicare work with the insurance you already have? What are the deadlines you need to know for signing up for Medicare? Register now for our Transitioning to Medicare Lunch and Learn Thursday, October 12th with Ratliff and Rosso at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets. And unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Get started right now at the website, realinvestmentadvice.com, or simply call our toll-free number, 855-RIA-PLAN, or again, simply online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Small businesses are discovering that attracting and retaining top talent come down to more than just salary. In today's highly competitive job market, compensation is more than just wages. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Healthcare and retirement plans can make the difference in hiring and retaining the best employees. We can show you how to build an affordable, effective employment package that delivers true value for your workers and your business. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Welcome back. I know I'm preaching to the choir for radio listeners and YouTube followers when it comes to doing the right things with a household budget. And I guess what surprises me, and again, I understand this is one article with just a couple of examples, but I will tell you, I have seen this, and I have heard this, and I have talked to people about this who feel like being locked up during the pandemic, one of the worst, or if the worst decision I've experienced in my lifetime from a government perspective, John, right? I'm sure there's more bonehead stuff to come, but this was the worst I've experienced. Psychologically, we switch something in our brains. I thought there for a moment it was to save more, but it isn't. It's to actually spend more and don't give a crap about anything else. And listen, I am all one for taking a trip, the recreational stuff, discretionary spending. I get it. But to throw everything to the wind, especially when you have kids, I think when you're single or say you're a couple and you don't have any children, but I think when you have children, that just changes his perspective. But in this article, it was like, no, the more kids we have, the more plane tickets we'll get, and the more we'll put it on credit cards. By the way, Wallet Hub does a great job in keeping the track of average credit card rates. So if you have good credit, 2023, your average rate's 23.47. Fair credit, 25.77. Store cards, which people still use, don't ask me why, 29.95%.
Man.
I mean, it's highway robbery. So let's go back to this couple comes and meets with us, right? First of all, I'll be squirmy in my seat when they try to explain to me that, we'll only live once and global warming is going to take away all our travel plans in the future because everything's on fire and all this stuff. And I'm going to have to be my professional self and try to work through this as best as possible. So what else could I do? What else would you do? Say, send me, while you're spending all that money, can you bring me back a gift?
I mean, can you take me along with you? I mean,
there's but here's what I'm trying to get to, the deep down mentality of this. Like, maybe, and we talk about money scripts, and it's real important. Like, what is your script? What subconsciously are you from a spending perspective and a savings and debt perspective, right? It really digs into what we have. We have these quizzes available and follow the work of Brad and Ted Klontz and behavioral psychologists in the finance world, because we are becoming psychologists as well as commanders of finance, because money is emotional. I know how I learned about how to be more frugal I had grandparents that grew up through the Great Depression, but I had parents that spent like these couples in these articles, and it scared me, right? In other words, I'm sort of a balance between them, right? So for me, this thinking is, I can't think this way. I'm not wired to say my wife is going to stay home. I have a special needs child who obviously will probably need more financial support for longer. But and I would love to take a trip, but will I put $10,000 on credit card debt with even if I have good credit at an interest rate of 23.47%, or is there just a better way to do it? I'm just trying to figure out, how do I rewire that brain if I can? Like, that's a big job for someone, and that's why I would think that most people that would do something like this wouldn't even dare to talk to a financial planner or advisor about it.
Well, they're afraid of knowing what the real answer is, right?
Right.
I mean, honestly, especially with a couple, especially with children, especially with someone that's special needs. I mean, do they even have something in place? Heaven forbid, if something happens to mom and dad, who's going to take care of their child, right?
Right. I
mean, let's look at our priorities here.
Like when your girls came along, or like when Haley came along, like even the thought of being irresponsible with money, like left my brain. It was like that part of me died. Like, when I was, didn't have her and we were, together, my wife and I at the time, and we were okay to spend money.
Mm-hmm.
We were, more money. Like we were okay with that. But when she came along, all the priorities shifted. Didn't the same happen for you?
Well, it did. And now, our daughters are older. Our oldest daughter will be 23 this October. Scary to think.
What'd you have when you were 10?
Yeah, when I was at least 14. Come on.
Okay.
So oldest daughter will be 23 in October. Our youngest is 21. Our oldest has graduated college. She's back in H-Town here in Houston with us now with her first formal career.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Right?
You told me she's working.
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
I mean, so we're all having these conversations around saving and her Roth 401k and save first and all the. So we did have our children at a young age, and our kids still think that my wife and I are dinosaurs. I don't think we're that old, but we have a very open relationship when we talk about money.
The most successful kids with money,
yes,
are the ones that you have this open dialogue with.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hide the decisions. I come from an Italian family where, how dare you even ask about anything? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? You're just a stupid kid. Don't ask me questions about money. What do you know? So this is what I got when I was when I was 30. So it doesn't matter. So the open communication is important, but this mentality change, this switch in the brain since the pandemic. So Ally Bank, who's a great bank, we recommend generally online banks for financial vulnerability cushions, right? A year's worth of living expenses, 6 months for the emergencies, 6 months for the serious stuff, like someone's out of work or there's an illness. Their online platform, it started buckets. They allowed, and I saw this years ago, they allow customers to create savings buckets for different goals a few years ago. And they say users create about 1.5 times more experience-oriented buckets, such as travel and fun, versus with longer-term planning. That makes a lot of sense. But I think since the pandemic, this stuff's on steroids. And that has been the biggest dilemma in this economy. Like the consumer has been so resilient. Yes, they had stimulus. Yes, they had savings. But now they're going into credit card debt, and they don't care. And maybe it's because the jobs are secure, right? We're going to see some labor hoarding here because of the labor force participation rate. Job openings, JOLTS has fallen. That's positive from the Fed perspective. So the whole job market is slowing. But I don't know if we're going to see the unemployment they're expecting, because if you let workers go, are you going to be able to get them back? So this is a strange environment, but the consumer spending through this process has really got me floored, because I hear more of this. I'm going to live for today. What if we get locked up again? You know, what if there's another illness? The planet's burning. I mean, I'm hearing all kinds of excuses to just go way overboard.
Yeah, I think it's easy
with spending.
I think it's easy to come up with an excuse that kind of solidifies your own bias, right?
Yes.
Where that excuse makes no sense in the world, right? I mean, you were talking about credit card usage, and I think a lot of this comes down to something that you were mentioning too earlier, Rich, is how you learned from your upbringing, right? And how you're kind of a blend in between how your generations as you were raised and how you're looking at money.
Right.
Your oldest daughter, so she actually, we just helped her get her first credit card, but it's so that she can start building credit.
What is it? What kind of card was it? A secured card or
just an American Express?
Okay.
Just so she can start building credit. But we had a long discussion around how do you actually use the card, right?
Yes.
Versus just going crazy and running up a balance, and all of a sudden now you're in trouble, right?
If you don't have that conversation, like you just said, about the ramifications of maintaining a balance. Matter of fact, I made my daughter so darn paranoid about it. She goes, Dad, I got an outstanding balance. I know you were going to send me money from my 529, but, I said, okay, yeah, I got it. Don't worry, I'm going to send it to you. You pay the balance off. When does it due? Oh, she goes, not till November. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I did a little bit too good. Yesterday she sends me pictures. She's making her own clothes. You can buy clothes, honey.
Yeah, ours. It's interesting. So
thrift stores.
Yeah,
right?
our girls are they're pretty frugal with this stuff.
Gen Zs, you're noticing this group is different. They are much more frugal. Now they will spend on experiences a little more, but even the spending that we see from other generations, we're not seeing that in Gen Z, are we?
Well, I know with our oldest, if friends of hers
my daughter's just a couple of years old, they fall in that same group.
I mean, if there's friends of hers who have graduated college and they're out buying this and that and whatever, her comment to us is, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I'm not doing that. I'm not spending that money on that."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That it just doesn't make sense to her.
We're creating savings monsters, and I'm really
and our
happy
youngest
about
daughter's the same way. She's like, that just doesn't make sense to me, right? I was like, oh, thank goodness. Maybe at least I did something right, right?
So here's a story. I was in Vermont. I was at this writing group for one of my scripts. Beautiful, bucolic, I mean, just amazing. Stowe, Vermont, not far from Burlington. And my daughter decides to meet me there. I make sure that she loves it there, right? She go biking and all that. So when we get there, first she takes a deep breath. She goes, Dad, what's that smell? I said, that's clean air, honey. But I want to tell you a little about the revelation she gave me, because she doesn't, I don't pry too much into her personal life. We talk about money a lot. I'll let her just share with me, and then I just digest it. But I want to share with you some of what she said to me about her boyfriend, who's no longer her boyfriend.
Uh-oh.
And we're also going to be talking about the disconnect between pre-retirement and reality, which is sort of this topic. How am I saving for retirement at all when I'm not dealing with reality when we get back?
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
October means it's time for open enrollment into Medicare. How is your health insurance going to work after you leave your job? Our next Lunch and Learn will tackle transitioning to Medicare. Thursday, October 12th with Danny Ratliff and Richard Rosso. How will Medicare work with the insurance you already have? What are the deadlines you need to know for signing up for Medicare? Register now for our Transitioning to Medicare Lunch and Learn. Thursday, October 12th with Ratliff and Rosso at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
In 1999, a parafiduciary group of financial advisors were busted by corporate giants for trying to operate in their clients' best interest. These men promptly escaped from a high-cost margin environment to the Houston Energy Corridor. Today, still excoriated by their former employers, they survive as protectors of others' fortunes. If you have a problem about preserving capital, if no one else can help, and you can find them right here, maybe you should hire the RIA team.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Part of the problem of the average American is that we've just chosen to live well beyond our means.
Basically, you can buy anything you want out there on a payment. You need new underwear? Go get it on a payment plan.
Underwear can be expensive. If you buy some Jimmy John's, they're not cheap.
Jimmy John's.
And
Sandwich
the point
underwear?
is,
What is this?
But Tommy John's, thank you.
The Real Investment Show podcast
That's why I just don't wear underwear. It's too expensive anymore.
at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Going commando is going to become a new thing for the poor people.
It's going to be a...
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Real Investment Show podcasts are now available from Stitcher Smart Radio at Stitcher.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets. And unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA Advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. It's a quick and easy application. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access. Now with the new and improved Before the Bell reports, plus each day's radio shows. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So, before we get to the daughter story, I want to share with you, Lance is talking about Buc-cee's will know on there because the son was just arrested, allegedly, for putting cameras in the bathrooms and stalls. He wasn't, the co-founder's son was not arrested for that. It was for Airbnb. And by the way, I don't care.
Oh, that's much better.
Let him put the camera in there. What is he going to see? Matter of fact, well, actually, he might call to report me and say, you know what, I give up. This is the most horrible thing I've seen on camera. I'm turning myself in.
You may do everybody else a favor.
I might have saved everybody else from the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I care. Go ahead, film me. What am I doing? Here's my little dog Rosie. Look, Buc-cee's co-founder's son. Look, I don't care. So she sits me down. We go to this pizza place called Picasso. Great pizza. And she goes, I said, so how's the boyfriend? I haven't heard anything about him. And how's it going? Like, it was painful for me to bring it up. I felt like someone was twisting my... But I figured I'd ask because he is a nice guy. Seemed to be a nice guy. She goes, Dad, yeah, I meant to tell you. I told Mom we're not together anymore. I'm like, oh, in other words, I had this feeling because he just sort of dropped out of sight. I said, well, what happened? She goes, well, he had a lot of credit card debt, which I found out about. And then he got fired from his job. And who gets fired? Okay. I'm not supporting some guy. So I said, so you've been together a couple of years. You just sort of didn't want to work it out. She goes, nope. You told me, right? I got to be financially independent. I got to do my own thing. So with a tear in my eye, I said, I created a monster. She might be a little extreme, but she brought up everything was financial. And I went, okay. All right. So you've got to talk to your kids about money. It's very important to do so. Make it, and especially I think, not to be biased here, John, but I think for girls and for women, you really have to help them understand to be independent and make their own dollars.
Well, and what I've really found too, and maybe it's, just because they're our daughters, but even our oldest daughter's boyfriend, she's in a very serious relationship with a young man. He graduated from college earlier this year. Now he lives, more in the.
Did you pull his credit score?
Just out the San Antonio area. Now she probably did.
No, yeah, because Haley did. She says,
yeah,
I pulled his credit
maybe
score
she did.
Yeah,
but for a young man, he's got a great head on his shoulders, great business acumen because he's helping his mom and dad run their family business, right?
Yeah.
But what I have found is with him and both our girls, they do listen to what you talk about, right? I mean, if they are at least what I've noticed is they're eager to learn and they do listen to what you have to say and they watch you.
They do. They watch your relationship with money.
Yes.
They watch how you handle your job. They also watch how you handle your job responsibilities.
Yes.
Are you responsible in your job? And that's the one thing that he wasn't. And she picked that up. She goes, I learned from you, Mom, and always watch you, Mom, always being responsible for your job. And she's very responsible. So I was like, listen, more power to her. I'm like, I remember when there was one discussion we had, she goes, Dad, I want to buy a house. I'm like, you're not buying a house right now. This was 6 months ago. I said, you're not buying a house. She goes, what do you mean? I said, first of all, you live at Emory. You live outside of Emory. You have no idea where you're going to be when you graduate. Why don't you just wait? Plus, you need 20% down. She goes, 20% down? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, 20%. Mm-hmm. So the boyfriend turns to her and goes, it'll be an honor to live there with you. And so Amy says, oh, he's so sweet. She looks to me. And then Haley turns around and goes, well, you'll be paying rent. So I was like, and then Amy went, oh, boy.
You've done a nice job there, Dad.
I don't know what I've done. It just came out of her mouth. Like, it wasn't even a thought. Well, you'll be paying rent. You'll be oh, no. She goes, you'll be my tenant. And Amy goes, this is so romantic, isn't it? I'm like,
yeah, I'll offer you a low interest loan.
Oh, wow. I wish I was like her at 25. So advisors are saying Americans are worried about retirement finances. Say what?
They are?
How could that be? So this is the 2023 RIA Protected Accumulation and Retirement Income Survey. This is Retire One and Allianz Life Insurance. It provides insights into concerns and planning strategies. So here's what they found. 97% of those surveyed say clients have voiced, of advisors say clients have voiced anxieties about how inflation might reduce their retirement savings. Because even though you're getting all this noise about how, inflation's coming down, and it is, rate of change is absolutely coming down, prices themselves are at a new plateau. That's not an Irving Fisher reference, for those of you who are fans of economists. It is distressing, right? So clients have voiced anxieties about inflation, how that might reduce retirement savings. How about the sufficiency of their Social Security benefits? I understand 63% worried their employer-backed retirement benefits might not be enough. Now, this is something we put into our software back in 2019. Many advisors anticipate that future investment returns might lag behind historical averages. Yeah, might. This has led to doubts about the traditional advice of withdrawing 4% of retirement savings each year. How many times have we said you cannot take a fixed withdrawal rate from variable assets? It doesn't work. You've got to watch that withdrawal rate every year and either expand it or contract it or maybe don't do anything. You just can't blindly take 4% a year out. It doesn't work. Also, the role of annuities into retirement plans, right? So guaranteed income, especially when times are tough, can save you. Say we're right here at RIA, and we say over the next 10 years, returns on a 60-40 portfolio are going to be much less, say 3 to 4%. Well, okay. Now I have to look at, if I'm going to have a headwind to returns, don't I want to maximize, look, the best way I could take Social Security, John? Don't I want to see if I can have as much guaranteed income as possible? So maybe my withdrawal rate is much lower. I did this with a client the other day. We took the pension where he waited till 70 to take Social Security. His average withdrawal rate right now is 2.5%. That's reasonable. And I said, sooner or later, you're going to have a tailwind again. I just don't know when. We have a valuation trigger for that. So this helps you understand is you have to alleviate people's distress over retirement, but you can't cookie code it. Now I want cookies. You can't just code it, right? With you just have to say, listen. How many times during the pandemic did they write articles? Some of the people that we really admire, like Wade Pfau and all that, say, well, the 4% withdrawal rate's really 2%. So then you go ahead and you have to now tell a client, you know that 4% you were going to take? Surprise.
Or, hey, that travel budget that you wanted, guess what? May need to dial that back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so, you have to, if there are years where maybe you need to pull back on your budget a little bit, but then you have more of a tailwind, then you can, it has to be like an accordion, right? To your point, you have to be able to adjust this. It can't be a kind of a set 4% every year. There needs to be some adjustment in there just based upon what's going on in your own life too.
And most retirees do not spend on an inflation-adjusted basis forever. They don't keep raising the bar. There's a period. You go through active years, like this couple that decided to blow it all on credit cards. You go, hopefully you have the money. You go ahead and you're traveling, you're eating out, right? You're in your active retirement years. And then you get into this sort of a valley, as I call it. You're not unhealthy, but you're not spending as much. You're not eating out as much.
Is that the valley of the shadow of death?
Well, close, because then the next move is death. No, the next move is higher healthcare expenses, so your expenses will go up again. So you've got to match the spending for the retirement income strategy to real life. And sometimes inflation adjusted is not the way it's done. So that's one way to alleviate a client's concerns that they're not going to have enough is, 10 years, you say you retire at 65, probably till 75, 76. Yeah, you're blowing and going, you're doing all this stuff. Now, maybe from 76 to 85 or so, you've got a few health issues, not that bad, but you've done all these travels. Maybe you do something with the grandkids, but, you're doing a lot more stuff close to home. You're eating less, right? You're doing all these things, but so and again, I have clients that have been in distribution portfolios for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. I could see how they spend. Their spending goes down, and then toward the end of their life, they're making big changes. They're selling homes and they're moving into retirement communities, or healthcare expenses have popped up. That's when the expenses are kicking in again. So you can alleviate that. Obviously, maximizing plans, but not everybody needs annuities. Annuities are not bad. Retirement income is great. Guaranteed income is great. You have to do a financial plan to figure it out. How can I sell you anything or give you anything, or how can anybody sell you anything as far as insurance, retirement income strategies without running a plan first to see if you need it? Very important. More when we get back. Stay tuned.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
October means it's time for open enrollment into Medicare. How is your health insurance going to work after you leave your job? Our next Lunch and Learn will tackle transitioning to Medicare Thursday, October 12th with Danny Ratliff and Richard Rosso. How will Medicare work with the insurance you already have? What are the deadlines you need to know for signing up for Medicare? Register now for our Transitioning to Medicare Lunch and Learn Thursday, October 12th with Ratliff and Rosso at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets. And unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Get started right now at the website, realinvestmentadvice.com, or simply call our toll-free number, 855-RIA-PLAN at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Small businesses are now being challenged by the lack of employees and how to attract and recruit the best employees. To get the better employee, you'll have to offer a better package. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Don't assume a 401k plan is too costly or complicated for your small business to offer. Let us show you how to make the most of an affordable and effective plan that will deliver true value for your business and your employees. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
You should see Brent. You ever watch the WWE?
I have
It
watched
reminds
that
you
in a
when
day.
Brent is wrestling with the board. It's
been Gremlin City up in here this week.
I'm waiting for him to take the chair and pound it over it like Ricky
like-
Savage and
Like the Macho
Randy
Man,
Savage and
Savage,
yeah.
the Dingo Warrior. Remember the Dingo
Oh
Warrior?
yeah, Dingo Warrior was great.
Oh man.
I like George the Animal Steel. That may be for your time.
Oh
but he
no,
would
come
eat-
on, man! I remember George the Animal
Remember
Steel.
he would eat the.
He would eat the turnbuckle,
Yeah.
the stuffing out of the turnbuckle. Come on.
He'd rip it apart with his teeth and go. That dude just died not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah, I guess eating that was healthy for him. That dude cracked me up.
Roughage.
George the Animal. I mean, that guy was the best.
See, now you're really talking about the good old days here now.
Man, WrestleMania
Oh yeah, yeah.
with Hulk Hogan. Yeah, those are great. Man, I used to pay for those on HBO or pay-per-view, whatever the heck it was. It was like $20 at the time. I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch this. Man, that was so good.
That was money well spent, right?
I
sure
thought
it was.
so. Listen,
Yeah.
speaking about money well spent, James Butler brought up that he played the Powerball yesterday. And I am the person that says, go ahead and play. Right? And a lot of advisors say, don't play the lottery. I'm like, listen, you get the ticket. You spend $3. The endorphins are exploding in your head when you get that ticket. What would you do with the money? I've already got it all. I'm driving home. I'm smiling. The best $3. What? How much does the movie cost? $25?
Oh,
By the time
if you're looking at all the popcorn and everything else you're getting with it, sure.
$3, I get just as much entertainment in my head because I'm thinking about all the cool things I'm going to do and like not be on the radio anymore, which would be great. So
Elvis is still here.
Yeah, baby, I've left the building, let me tell you. But Vernon took all my money. We had no money, Daddy. What did you do with the money? So you got to remember that playing the lottery once in a while won't break your budget. It'll make you feel sort of good. I like the scratch-offs, too. Feels good. Feels good. You could do them in a dark room, and all you hear is...
Got the little shavings on the table there. Yeah.
Somebody's been here.
Cheap thrills.
Listen, you got to get them where you can. So it's candy corn season for all you crayon-eating psychopaths. I am one of them. I am one of them. I think I have gone through a bag and a half.
Already?
Already.
They're good for breakfast. They are. They're
Right.
good.
It's the yellow and orange food group.
If you blend them, you can put them in martinis, but that's a whole other show. Dean Martin would be proud of me. Have one for me, buddy. So
5 o'clock somewhere.
it is.
AM.
A.M.
Either you hate candy corn or you love it.
There's
There
no
is
in between.
Nothing in
Yeah.
there.
It's good stuff, Maynard.
I love it. It's my thing. So transitioning to Medicare. This has already been very popular. Obviously, we're in Medicare open enrollment. Like you turn on the TV, there's Jimmy J.J. Walker, Joe Namath, William Shatner, John Penn. I mean, so they're all saying, listen, this is the best thing since sliced bread, Medicare Advantage, but people are confused, right? Transitioning to Medicare, how your health insurance works with it, when should you sign up, what about COBRA, and all the myriad of Medicare deadlines that can confuse the heck out of you. This will be a virtual Zoom webinar on October 12th at 12 p.m. Just sign up at Real Investment Advice. We already have quite a few people signed up because this is a topic, John. This in Social Security is still very confusing to people, especially when it comes to benefits, right? Especially when you have to coordinate benefits. I think when it comes to coordinating benefits, that becomes an issue because you have to, there are periods of time, right? There's someone that has a benefit. Then they become entitled to a different benefit that a person can switch to if the benefit's higher. And that's a way to maximize your benefits, right? And Social Security doesn't call you and say, hey, John, time to switch your benefit to get more money. They don't do that, right? So you have to work in what we do here is maximization strategy. A lot of times it's starting with the lower benefit and then switching to a higher benefit later, right?
Right.
What Social Security wants to do is pay the highest amount a client is entitled to now. And that advice, a lot of times, and this has happened to me, conflicts with what we provide. No, don't do that, right? So you can have restricted application. You can have, say, a spousal. You could have your own benefit. You're a lower earning spouse, and you have your higher earning spouse. And you want to look to say, hey, I'm going to take my benefit now. I have one client that's taken their benefit. She has a small benefit and she's not working. Mm-hmm. We actually decided to take it at 62, right? When her husband turns 70, she's going to go ahead and switch at her full retirement age to his benefit. So actually, even though she was taking it early, for her own benefit, her spousal benefit, she was going to get some extra bucks before her spousal benefit. Usually I'm not a big fan of taking Social Security before full retirement age, but the point we're trying to make, this claiming process, this switching from one to another is very, very challenging, especially if you want to talk to Social Security Administration. They are not the ones that will help you do that. So you have to actually go into the Social Security office with a report. So anytime I send a client to go to say, this is the claiming strategy, you're going to go there and you're going to lay out what you're going to do. And Social Security workers get confused because they're inexperienced. They don't understand about this switching strategies, the switcheroo. And then someone will say, you can't do it. And I've had that. You know how many times I had that happen with restricted application? Where it's still like a file and suspend where a spouse can still, one spouse, the higher earning spouse can turn on their benefit, then turn it off just so the spouse's benefit.
Yeah, and there's a specific date that you have to look at
and
as
most
far as
people
when
are not
somebody
able
is
to
born.
do that anymore.
Yeah.
But we were at the deadline of able to do this switch benefit, which is gone now. And Social Security said, no, you can't do that. I'm like, listen, we're going to have to fight here a little bit because you're able to do that.
I mean, there are opportunities out there, especially women, if they are,
absolutely.
heaven forbid, if you went through a divorce and that your previous marriage lasted, 10 years and you haven't remarried,
You're able to, and they don't even know it.
And they don't know they can actually, it may be more beneficial to collect off of their ex-spouse's Social Security record, right? Off their benefit.
Right. Or collect on their own for a while and then switch. And they don't even know that they are supposed to get a benefit. Because what the Social Security worker says, this is your benefit. Your Social Security administrator worker is only looking at one track. This is your benefit, John. That's the highest benefit. That's the one you take. Well, no. Because we have to coordinate that benefit with a spouse. And even people who are single, to John's point, may have a divorced spouse benefit that they didn't even realize that they could collect. And Social Security is not really qualified to do that. That's where you have a financial advisor, fiduciary, that will help you blend and look at what to do. And you're going to have to bring these reports in to Social Security.
Yeah, and sometimes it's you bring in the report for the benefit that you're going to get right now. Even though you know you may switch to something else later, sometimes you may not want to tell Social Security that because you could confuse them.
Yeah, and there could be times, this is an example from Savvy Social Security, you can have 4 separate applications. So here's an example. You have Mike, the higher wage earner. Mary is the one that's not making as much, right? Mike is primary insurance amounts $3,500. Mary's is $1,200, right? And they're both 62. So Mary claims on her benefit at full retirement age, 67. So she gets $1,325. Mike waits until 70, and his benefit's $5,085 a month. He's maxed out Social Security. So she's got hers, he's got his, but guess what? She can then claim her spousal add-on at age 70. And that's $644. And then when poor Mike is in the ground at age 84, she can now switch to survivor benefits at $6,844. So when you're married and you have one spouse, now it's sort of easier when you have both spouses that have maxed out. Then you can say, listen, you both can wait till age 70, right? You're going to get the max benefit. But most of the time, it doesn't work that way. So soon as your advisor hears that we both have been paying in, I have a higher earning spouse and a lower earning spouse, boom. There's a switcheroo strategy in here somewhere. We need to investigate. Very, very important. And Social Security Administration is not going to help. They're going to say, yeah, your benefit is this. That's what you take. So that's where, again, knowing the right Social Security strategy. So the lifetime benefit for doing this properly for Mike and Mary, just with a normal life expectancy, their lump sum benefit paid out over time is $2,076.
It's huge.
That is not chump change. Just because you went to someone who helped you crunch the numbers, take the emotion out of it and guide you through the Social Security Administration process. That's all we got. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you Monday. Take care. Thanks for being with us.